Our son, Eran Almog, was born with severe brain injury. He has never said one word all his life, never made eye contact, never said Abba, Mom, Dad. He was diagnosed at the age of 8 months. The psychologist told Didi, my wife, and me, your son is having a combination of autism and retardation. Probably he will never speak. Probably he will stay mentally child forever at the age of few months. We felt the sky crashed on our head. Didi started crying, and then we asked ourselves how we continue managing our life if our son have no future at all. And then we started moving all over Israel to see decent place, decent institute. The experience was the same. We opened the door, you got the blow of stink at our face. And then distorted faces of children who are afraid from the world. And then shameful stuff. Dirty, abandoned, ignored places. We came home crying. And then we started hearing stories of shame about Golda Meir, the Prime Minister of Israel, who had never said one word on Meira, the granddaughter, Down syndrome granddaughter, about Yigal Allon, legendary Major General, the best commander in our independence war, who took his girl, Nurit, from Kibbutz Genosar, put her in Scotland, and never said even one word all his life about Nurit. We discover discrimination and walls of shame around children like Eran, Nurit, Meira. And then, when he was 21, we got formal letter from the Israeli Ministry of Education saying, your son will not able to continue studying in special education school. This is the law, special education law in Israel. Bounded these children from age 3 to 21. We decided for him to build a village, a full lifespan village. On the right picture, you see Didi, my wife, standing on a stage, Eran between us and me on the left side, at the groundbreaking ceremony of this village. This village is a paradise for him, full lifespan, from babies until they pass away. The best ever, the best treatment, education system, environment, above all, loving, caring society. In military, we say, never leave the wounded behind. On the left picture, you see the tank, the burned tank of my brother. My brother, Eran, was killed in the Yom Kippur War. He was shot by a Syrian tank, thrown outside, bleeding near his burned tank. Not 1 day, not 2 days, 7 days. Crying, asking for evacuation. No one arrived near his burned tank. I did my oath to my brother, to my bleeding brother, to stay in military, as fighter, as soldier, to do my best, never to leave wounded behind. I faced hundreds of battles. Luckily, I survived, and I did my oath to my brother. 11 years after the Yom Kippur War, our second child was born. It was only natural to give him the name of my brother, Eran. It was only natural to wish that he would be better than us, more successful, more talented, a source of pride. Then we discovered that he was judged to 3 life sentences. One is a broken body, unable to do anything by his power. Second, one day being taken and put in institute for the rest of his life. And the third, behind heavy walls of stigma, stereotype, and shame. On the left picture, you see Eran, my brother. A few months before the Yom Kippur War, both of us smiling. He was killed. And then Eran, our son, continued living with us, being a huge echo box of my bleeding brother, asking for love, for treatment. In military, we say mutual responsibility. Mutual responsibility brought me to Sudan to lead operations to bring Jews from Ethiopia through the Sudani desert. In this picture, you see me, 33 years old, a commander of Special Force Unit, returning from Sudan, the Prime Minister of Israel waiting for us. Mutual responsibility for Jews who were in trouble, in misery, and suffer. I was also the first Israeli soldier to land in Entebbe, the night between 3rd and 4th of July, 1976. The rescue operation of 105 Israeli hostages. Yoni Netanyahu was killed. Erez Kosurin got a bullet in his head. 3 of the hostages also were killed. But in Israel, there was a great joy. You see in this picture, the hostages, some of the hostages, excited, crying. And inside me, our son, Eran, saying, "My dear father," the hostages in Entebbe, they were 1 week of their life hostage. 1 week. "My dear father, I'm hostage for the rest of my life. From the first moment. Will you do something for me? A social Entebbe?" The village which we built in south of Israel is a social Entebbe. It's about helping the most vulnerable members in our society, promote them, and also make a true tikkun olam, which is about correcting our society. The vision of this village was written by our workers. Loving kindness. The word love appeared twice. Our son lived in this village 1 year and 1 month, and then he passed away 14 years ago. But the spirit in this village is his spirit. He is the greatest educator, the greatest teacher of my life. What is this village? This village is integrative community center. At the focus of our attention, disabled children like our beloved son, Eran. In the past, no one came to visit them. In the past, they were highly discriminated. They were taken overseas, enveloped by walls of shame and stigma. Every day in this village, hundreds of people arriving. Number 1, to rehabilitation. We have contract with the 4 Israeli HMOs and Ministry of Defense, soldiers arriving after being wounded in battle or training, civilians living in south of Israel arriving to get rehabilitation services. Education, yes, ordinary children from age 1 arriving to our kindergarten to be educated, to know what does it mean loving the disabled. What does it mean mutual responsibility? Kol Israel arevim זה לזה. We teach them from little age. Occupation, 500 people arriving from the outside community to work inside. Also, we have vocational therapy center. Volunteering, we have volunteers, 800 volunteers, many from Israel, many from overseas, from 12 different countries, all over the world. Visit is our DNA. Every day to visit the disabled, the wounded, the handicapped. Every day. Before the coronavirus, every day 100 arrived. More than 10,000 visitors a year. Along the COVID-19, 10 a day. In this picture, you see on the right side, Inbal, resident of the village, on horse riding therapy. At the center, Yoav, citizen of south of Israel, got brain damage, brain stroke. And he's doing the physiotherapy together with Inbal, with disabled children like our beloved son. And on the left picture, you see Raed, he's Muslim. He's Bedouin from the Bedouin community. Yes, we have about 100 workers from the Bedouins, from the 500. And we have many Bedouin wounded patients arriving every day to get the best treatment ever. In this picture, you see equal employment opportunities. All those gardeners made our village in Adi Negev, today Nahalat Eran, green, flourishing. All of them disabled, some in wheelchair. None of them were taken to the IDF to be soldiers in the Israel Defense Forces. None of them were taken to work, to get job in commercial company. They are qualified, they are on our payroll, they are paid for their work, and they do amazing work. And we qualify workers for the farms in the south of Israel, for medical cannabis, for instance. On the left pictures, you see Sati. She's born in Germany. She's Christian. She's 18 years old. And you know why she came to volunteer? She said, I came for atonement on the murder of 6 million Jews. Atonement on Hitler's decision to kill the disabled first when Second World War started, September 1st, 1939. Seti is doing Tikkun Olam. I have many volunteers, Christian volunteers from Germany. On the right picture, you see Meira Virgil on the left side, his wife Shula Virgil from Moshav Oad in south of Israel. They decided 11 years ago to foster a Bedouin girl sitting at the center. Her name Rahma. They call it Rahmi, my Rahmi. If you ask Shula, what is Rahmi for me, for you? She says, 5 children came from here, from my belly. She was born from my heart. This is Tikkun Olam. This is doing good. This is being good. No difference. But when religious, no difference of color. Human being is human being. He's having the same right. Doesn't matter how much he is disabled. In this picture, you see the kindergarten. On the left side, Sima, the teacher, Sima from the Ethiopian community. I was the commander of the operation to bring Sima and her family 1984, when she was 12. Now she is the teacher. Sima, the teacher of this kindergarten. Ordinary children from south of Israel, of Ofakim, Netivot, Patish, Maslul, and together with disabled children from the village. Visits, it's highly important to come and visit. On the left picture, you see the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, his wife Sarah, visiting. Bibi came twice. On the right picture, you see the president, but more important, visit of tourists from all over the world, every week. Not during the pandemic, but before and surely after the pandemic will over. Every day, visitors from Israel, soldiers, high-tech members, businessmen, students, every day to come and visit. This is mitzvat bikur cholim. And these pictures, you see also volunteers from Holland, from Germany. continue working during the pandemic, all over their body, the PPE, the protective personal equipment. They are protected. They continue with no social distancing. You need to love them. You need to hug them. You need to wash them. You need to get to the bathroom, to the restroom. You need to be with them and to hug them every day, every hour. Integration is the key to successful communities. Right now, what we do, we build the first rehabilitation hospital in the Negev, in our village, in Negev-Nahalat, Eran. The first rehabilitation hospital for 108 patients. And then we also finish building neighborhood for staff and volunteers. Yes, they are going to live near the hospital, doctors, nurses, administrators, psychologists. Student village, yes, student village. Students from Ben-Gurion University will live together with us, work and doing the practice in our village with disabled people. Daniel Inclusive Community, another project which we started, a community for 500 families. We got all the permission, all the licensing. Yes, a new community. I believe you remember Daniel, the boy that was killed when he was 4 years old during the protective edge operation, the last day. And the Daniel Inclusive Community will be a community for 500 families, integrative community. I would like to conclude and say that the greatest teacher of my life was Eran. The child who has never said one word, and to remind all of us that the strength of the human chain is always measured by its weakest link. The more we do to strengthen this link, the better people and better society we are. Thank you very much. Doing good.